Hey folks, Randy with the Fit Disturber podcast here. Just wanted to say sorry for the snafu we had on our audio today. We only got one mic working, so my voice will sound very quiet, very echoey. Also, we just want to say thank you to a few of our sponsors. First one is Sleep Remedy, best sleep supplement on the market. This product has gotten people off prescription sleep medications. So you can find that at docparsley.com, D-O-C Parsley, P-A-R-S-L-E-Y.com, and hit the shop button and put in the code PrimalBased, P-R-I-M-A-L-B-A-S-E-D. By far the best. You have any kind of sleep issues at all, this will help solve them. Second one is Mito Red Light. Red light therapy is absolutely amazing. Go to their website. I mean, it's backed by science from NASA. The domain name is mitoredlight.com. Again, code PrimalBased, and you get 5% off on this one. Definitely use the red light stuff. Also, you can find us at primalbased.com, movewithjess.co, and our main hub where you can find everything we do is primalbased.substack.com. And we will have a website coming for this podcast, the fitdisturber.com, coming soon. Thanks, folks, and enjoy the show.
Hey, this is the Fit Disturber podcast with Jess and Randy. We have a really fun show for you today.
We sure do. Primal King here. More!
And Primal Queen.
Anyways, guys, today we are going to talk about the Liver King and all the controversy.
Such a douchebag.
We have our notes here. We're going to basically just kind of freestyle, freeball it today on our podcast. Babe, why don't you talk about how you felt about this guy from day one?
Oh, I hated him. Okay, but let's go back. Years ago, when we started taking liver supplements, and it was his brand. What is it? Ancestral
lifestyle?
Yeah. And we didn't even know who he was. We just found this brand on Amazon. It looked great. It was a good price. We started taking it because we're all about vitality. And then years later, Randy comes up to me and is like, oh my God, you got to see this guy. He's entertaining. He's called the Liver King. And then we put two and two together and we're like, oh, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is when we were taking his supplements, the Liver King wasn't a thing. He was Brian Johnson. Maybe his employees, maybe he scared them into calling him Liver King. Yeah, so we were taking his stuff, and they seemed to be good products. Like no complaints. We've been taking it for years.
Yeah, well, we did switch brands because we found
the same thing. It's just overpriced.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's have you talk about from the day I showed you the video of this guy and how you felt.
Oh, cringe. I felt like it was theatrical and a character, and
it was.
Right. And you told me that. You said he's trying to go big and loud and spread a message, and he's putting on a show. And I just felt like he was so unauthentic, even though his messages were really good in so many ways, like sleep better, take better care of your health, bond with your family, eat liver, but he's just so cringe.
My wife here gets very, we'll use a nice cute word today, triggered over people in the fitness space. And this guy's very triggering, like even me. I put all of his BS out the window, and I'm like, the dude's putting out a good message. Yes, he looks like a jacked homeless guy on all the steroids. With greasy hair and a crazy beard. But he was putting out good information.
Yes.
All the things we believe with. Now, so I liked his message. I tried to talk to her, hey, look, stop looking past. He's playing a character like pretty much everybody is these days.
I couldn't do it though.
No.
I was not even entertained. It would it would leave a weird feeling in my stomach. And now I know, because I'm doing a lot of self-reflection or introspection. Is that a word? I don't know. I'm trying to grow as a human. I didn't trust him.
Well, you can put it less mildly, your bullshit detector.
It went off. It was firing.
All lights and sirens.
Oh.
And the other thing with him from day one we talked about, I said, this guy's on all of the supplements.
You said all the special vitamins.
All the good vitamins. And I also said, too, I'm like, the dude's on SARMs and peptides. Obviously, he's on, he likes to say, hormone replacement.
Cute.
Sure. But if you guys want to look at all of this stuff, Derek from More Plates, More Dates, I think he's the one who broke the entire story. He was just on Joe Rogan's podcast. He does a full breakdown. And the best thing he did was he provided another podcaster, and I can't remember his name, but a full on charlatans.
Oh, it was so beautifully done.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, so many people in the fitness space, and why our podcast is going to be the Fit Disturber. Number one, as a child, my mom and my aunt, specifically my aunt, even my grandma, they call me a shit disturber because I was always
stirring that pot,
stirring the pot, getting into stuff, climbing the walls. But there's so many charlatans in snake oil salespeople.
They all have the secret.
They do. They have the secret, and it's they're the only ones. It's
very precious.
Yeah, it's precious. It's, they're Gollum. And they won't release that information without you paying them somehow. So first, we want to give a little backstory on what the Liver King did. And he jumped on a bandwagon. All of this stuff before keto, before carnivore, before everything, this all goes back to paleo. And Lauren Cordain is the godfather of paleo. Rob Wolf and Mark Sisson are his children. Rob Wolf wrote the Paleo Solution. Mark Sisson wrote the Primal Blueprint.
Yep.
And these guys are awesome. They're still awesome to this day. They went on and evolved. It's not all paleo primal. The low carb craze came out of paleo primal.
Yeah.
And the carnivore craze came from keto.
Well, and even like intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And how we know now, like how incredible that can be for our health.
Done right.
Yeah. I mean, I remember listening to a podcast from Rob Wolf talking about how he does intermittent fasting. And I was so intrigued. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't need to eat breakfast because I'm really not hungry. Yeah. Very cool.
And then, and Rob Wolf and Mark Sisson, very different. Rob Wolf, at least when he was first came out, very dogmatic, very strict because he had his own health issues that he cured himself just through, diet lifestyle. Mark Sisson was the cool guy that made everything just super cool and smooth and like, hey, if you want that glass of wine or you want that dark chocolate.
He has a teaspoon of white sugar in his coffee every morning to, what does he say? To cut the bitterness. Like, he's just a cool guy.
Mark Sisson he should have been mainstream. He should have been as big as Jillian Michaels, and he would have if he would have hired the Liver King's production team.
Oh, right. But hold on. He is also the founder of Primal Kitchen, which now you can find in Costco, Walmart, so. Which
was bought by
Kraft, I believe.
Yep. We believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So Mark's doing all right. He's in Miami and
paddle boarding and playing his little, what does he play that? Frisbee golf? What is that? Frisbee golf? Extreme? Oh,
he plays
man.
Extreme Frisbee golf.
Hell yeah, he does.
I don't know. And he does the slack line.
He's like, what, 69?
Yeah, he's almost 70.
So he is someone that I look at and I'm like, oh, dude, I want to look like, I don't want to look like you. I'm a female. I want to look like your wife. She's hot. Smoke show.
And then the other thing, so all of these, primal paleo, ancestral living, Rob Wolf, Mark Sisson, they all were underground, but mainstream within the CrossFit community.
Mm-hmm.
So my correlation is here is the Liver King sat back and his supplements and liver supplements and eating heart and liver. People in that paleo primal community, we're doing that forever. We never fully embraced the CrossFit community. We believed in sprinting and lifting heavy things, but a lot of good stuff. I always told you about CrossFit. Hey, it brought an emphasis back on people lifting weights, which is
absolutely, and women lifting heavy.
And women lifting.
So heavy. I'm all about that. That's cool. Wait. What?
They're going to look like a man. Right? That's what happens when women lift 20 things. They look like dudes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Their voices get deep. They go like apple.
Right.
Start growing.
No. You don't have to take supplements for that.
Yeah,
all you have to
follow the Liver King and his advice, women might start growing hair in weird places. Their voice might get deep because the dude's taking a lot of stuff.
Well, his theory, like supports like, which, there's evidence behind that. So he eats balls.
The funniest thing ever, if you guys want to be, look at the interview and it's under Barstool Sports. The guy who interviewed him, it's so funny.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And the Liver King says like supports like. So the guy looks at him, and the guy plays a great character. He says, so is that why you don't eat animal vaginas? Because you're going to get a vagina. And the Liver King he couldn't even come up in character. He couldn't think on the fly. It was so funny.
It was great.
That threw him off his game.
Yep.
So we want to talk about pretty much, there is some good things with the Liver King here. And like I said, his messaging is good. The modern world technology has made everybody soft. It makes us too comfortable. And, we believe it's making people fat and sick. And so his messaging on getting outdoors, putting more emphasis on your sleep, exposing yourself to the sun, going barefoot in the grass. Like I used to laugh at that all the time. My lovely wife here, I'm like, dude, that's some hippie crazy stuff.
It's so good. So real.
We work on earthing mats and we go outside when it's not,
10 degrees.
10 degrees here in Montana. So the good messaging from...
Well, no, hold on. We go outside every day.
Well, yes, we walk every day.
But we go outside barefoot in the grass when it's not 10 degrees. But we do go outside barefoot in the snow.
Yeah. I make the girls and we walk outside, feet in the snow when it is cold.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So there is some good things that came from... And the Liver King is stupid. I've referred to him in our house all the time as Little Brian. I knew from day one the guy was short and, probably about 200 pounds. So he's about 5'7", 200 pounds, which is why he looks really big. The guy also probably is genetically gifted because when you look at pictures of him when he was like 18, he was pretty jacked.
Well, and he's been working out since he was like, 8 or 9 years old?
Yeah, he claims he got a bench press and, started working out.
Yeah, I believe that. He looks like a lifelong active guy. And
that's good.
Yeah.
These are the reasons that we have an issue with this. Number one with me is the dude just lied for profit. And he keeps trying to say that his companies, have been growing year over year, 50%, which if you know anything about business, that's near impossible. Even maybe if you're in the tech space, but the supplement world, I highly doubt that. The guy's companies are all private, so he doesn't have to release that information.
He just seems full of shit.
He was full of shit for money. And that's my biggest thing. It seems like the only thing people care about these days, it all comes back to making a name for themselves, making money. And the Liver King, Brian Johnson's not the only one. There's so many clowns out there that are just trying to get famous to make a quick buck.
Right.
And most of them are full of shit and give bad advice too. What do you want to say about that, the whole for profit?
No, yeah, I totally agree. And it really kind of pissed me off. I mean, I guess it's just the way the world is now that you have to jump up and down and wear a weird thing on your head to get noticed or social media famous really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What really pissed me off is that his friend, Paul Saldino, asks him point blank in a podcast, there's a lot of rumors going around that you're taking PEDs. What do you have to say to that? And he looks at his friend that he's in business with.
They've been friends for
5 years. They have a supplement company together. And he says, no, dude, I don't take the stuff. I'll never take the stuff. You're lying to your friend. You're lying to people who are calling you out on social media. I have seen these comments where people are like, dude, what are you taking? I don't take anything.
By the way, too, I've made fun of the Liver King on his own post and not me being truthful. And the dude goes and moderates and deletes stuff.
Absolutely. Or yeah, someone doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that just really irritated me how he's calling, like, we're questioning him because we can see that something's off, and he looks at people like us questioning him. Oh, well, we hate our lives and we're this unhappy, and how dare us question a fit guy, but we don't question a fat guy.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm like, dude, go to hell.
Well, so it's all this whole thing, and if you guys really want to dig deep, watch the whole 1 hour with Derek from More Plates, More Dates. This was all calculated. He said he wanted to be at 1 million followers by this date. He hired a whole production team. This was all for money. And there's a guy out there. His channel's funny. He's a bodybuilder, and he said, "Who would have known that? Part of being a primal is paying some charlatan an exorbitant amount of money and extracting money. Like that's primal supplements." And there's a lot of controversy. Do all of these desiccated supplements even work? We do supplement with them, so. And you can find them for a much better price.
Absolutely.
So the second thing here is I feel like, he made real primals look bad. And, Rob Wolf, Mark Sisson, Jess just mentioned Paul Saladino. Paul Saladino, we would say, I'll quote Joe Rogan here, he's the real Liver King.
Absolutely.
The guy's amazing. He lives half the year in Costa Rica. Unfortunately, he was in partnership with Brian Johnson, his Heart and Soil brand. Going to be curious to see what happens with that. The Liver King, I mean, if he damaged Paul's company too, Paul probably has recourse I'm sure there's attorneys involved.
Yeah, I don't know, but
because he lied, and he lied to an extent. I mean, he went on every large podcast, Logan Paul, the Fighter, the Kid. Nope. I never touch this stuff. Never will touch this stuff. Like,
right.
Not even a gray area. He just lied.
Yeah.
So he made all these other people look bad. So Paul Saladino, the dude surfs every day. I mean, and Mark Sisson, those guys, Rob Wolf, they all live very ancestral lifestyles.
Absolutely.
Rob Wolf is here in Montana, and he just posted some cool stuff about they just killed a bison here in Montana, and the way they harvested it, and the big bonfire, it was rad.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
Joe Rogan, that dude's pretty primal. I mean, the guy kills so much of his own food, and he said one of his favorite meals is heart and liver of elk.
Right.
So
yeah, no, I for a while I've been feeling that Brian Johnson has been giving people who really Little Brian give primals or people who believe in the ancestral lifestyle a bad name.
Yep.
I mean, even us, like we have our health coaching business called Primal Based, and I was like, well, kind of want to change my name. No, I believe in primal. I've been primal for 10 plus years.
You don't have an ass full of steroids.
No, I don't. But I do have a confession. Dun, dun, dun. I had eggnog yesterday with sugar.
I have a confession. I had some eggnog with a shot of whiskey.
So did I. So
good. So he made people really in the space that are really trying to promote, we believe, the healthiest possible way you can eat and live. He made it all look bad. He turned it into a fucking clown show.
Clown show. Dumpster fire clown show.
The second thing is this dude, he created very unreasonable expectations on how guys should look, especially since he's saying, I don't take anything, I don't take steroids, I don't take PEDs, never touch them, just work out twice a day, essentially doing CrossFit style workouts, and eat organ meats and bacon cheeseburgers, you look like me. Which, like I said, from day one, I was like, that's
no. You have to follow his, is it 9?
No, that's right.
9 ancestral tenets.
You gotta, we'll go with the comedian Joe Rogan. You gotta, sun your balls and walk barefoot and jump on your private plane.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Don't forget that.
Go to Las Vegas and be in a pool with a bunch of people. And, he drinks. He drinks. He says he doesn't drink. He drinks lots of Everclear.
Yes.
Traveling all around the world and spying on these hunter-gatherers and all that stuff. So there's so many body image issues out there, which, I mean, the mental health, this is probably the worst the mental health has ever been in this country. And this dude just made it worse. Oh, yeah.
But he jumps up and down on his little soapbox claiming that he's trying to help all the people out there, the 80% or whatever, who hate their lives and want to kill themselves and they're all depressed.
And what did he say, 4,000 people a day that try to kill themselves?
Yeah.
His apology. So go and look at his apology. And again, too, his apology is bullshit.
No, I'm sure.
He's still playing a part and promoting his brand in his apology. I do give him some credit. He just said, hey, I messed up. I took this stuff and I lied. But that's where it should have ended. So this guy has a whole PR team, people writing things for him. It's so fake.
He should have apologized to people. Hey, you guys noticed, and I completely discredited you, and I made you look bad, and I'm sorry. He's just an insecure little dude.
He should have named the podcasters that he went on there and said, I'm sorry, I lied on your show. I lied to your listeners. He should have apologized to his friend and business partner. Yeah, the dude's just a liar.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy said, like, he doesn't shave, he doesn't brush his teeth, he doesn't wear deodorants. Now, the deodorant thing, he's really tried to mix in with UFC and fighters. Those dudes all said, yeah, he doesn't wear deodorant. That guy stinks. He smells like a hobo.
I believe that he lives most of his tenants.
Yeah, I don't know. I question a lot of it. I don't think the guy even hunts. I think it's all a production and all a show. The guy, if the guy doesn't shave, I bet you he's had electrolysis done. The dude's way too smooth and greased up and looks like a bodybuilder.
Oh, you mean shave like his chest?
But he doesn't have ab implants. Remember?
Well, he could wax.
Wax, you would know more.
Maybe his wife waxes him.
Yeah. Just so much about the guy. It's a character. And you know what? If we all would have known it was just a funny character from day one, then it would be funny, but not lying to people. And like I said, contributing to body image issues. How many like young boys out there? Like our nephew is 13? 14. He talks about that guy, and it's like he's going to look at him and think, okay, I just need to work out hard and take these supplements and eat these organs, and I'm going to be jacked.
Yeah.
No, doesn't work that way.
Yep. Yeah.
The other thing too, you want body image issues?
That he has? Oh, he obviously has some body image issues.
No, just why he's bad. We'll get to his mental health issues. Yeah, what he did to the other people.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's completely sick, and it's just contributing to the issues that we already have, right? So, I mean, we always look at women that, we're in this space where, society puts pressure on women to look a certain way, and, now it's all about the butt, but it was, years ago, it was the heroin chic look. And now, it's
That's
like
positive about Kim Kardashian. Kim K.
She made the booty big.
The original butt girl.
Right, now everyone wants a big butt. And like, I guess by my standard, or not my standards, but society standards, I have what is considered a pancake butt. And I do not have a flat booty. Yeah, I don't know. So it's dumb.
The other thing on the body image issues, this makes me question if his wife is taking anything.
Oh, I had already wondered that.
Because she's actually older than him.
She's 50. She's
50.
Right.
And has abs. She's had 2 kids.
Yeah, she has a great body. Now, I was actually thinking that. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, let's face it. If I was on an ass full of steroids, we'll use that term, you would know, right? We were married. We lived together in the same house.
I'm going to watch you poke yourself in the...
If you were taking stuff, I would know.
Right.
And if you look at the amount of money, he was spending $11,000 or $14,000 a month on growth hormone.
He's so dumb.
And people are trying to break that down, and like he's doing, I think it was something like 20 23, 21, 23 IUs a day, which is like what a bodybuilder takes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, okay, when you're 50 and you're a woman, you typically don't look like she does naturally. I don't know. I like her more than him.
I don't know because, I do follow some people in our space who, carnivore women who, like this one woman in particular, she's 56 and she's a smoke show. And it's like, well, I don't want to jump up and down that just
Sure.
because you're in your 50s and you have abs and you're lean and strong and beautiful, you're on steroids. Like, no, I'm not going to be a hater.
Here's the deal. If people want to do hormone replacement therapy, there's a place for that.
Absolutely.
And the problem is
do we need a disclaimer that under the guise of a medical advisor?
I could care less. Whatever. Yeah. So I like his wife better than him. I liked listening to her. Her message seemed more authentic.
Yeah, she's yeah. It's really funny. I saw a reel one time where she was telling her son, whichever one, to go put a shirt on for dinner. And it was, she's just being a sweet mom. She's cooking some bone marrow and some liver. And she looks at him and says, go put a shirt on, in her cute little accent. Where's she from? Sweden?
Sweden, Norway.
And the comments were like, wait a minute. He has to put a shirt on, but your husband doesn't. And she said, different standards.
Yeah.
It was just funny. I was like, oh, God.
So moving on from body image issues.
Well, I'm not done.
Oh.
You cut me off. Okay, so digress. So my point was, we look at women and, women should look a certain way or whatever. But I guess there's more awareness now around guys. Like, guys don't want dad bod or moobs or small arms. I don't know. So I think that guys sometimes get a little under the radar, that they're not looking at their bodies in the mirror going, well, I want to look better too.
Yeah.
So guys do. They get a little insecure. Yeah.
Guys have they've obviously had body image issues for a long time. It just, women talk about things more openly.
Yeah.
Guys internalize it. So, Brian Johnson, and let's face it, the dude looked good, looked jacked.
I'm not a fan.
Bodybuilder.
Yeah.
He didn't look athletic. He didn't look like a primal.
Right. Yeah, because I look at like Paul Saldino and Mark Sisson as like what I vision to be like peak healthy.
Sure.
Peak healthy. Yeah.
If anybody wants to see too, if you want to see
peak health,
one of the probably craziest like real primals is look up Cameron Haynes.
Yeah.
The dude does ultra marathons. The guy would run a marathon a day, which probably isn't healthy.
No.
But the guy kills all his own food. The guy you could drop him off in the middle of nowhere for a month and he would survive.
Right.
And, he's been asked a ton of times too, is he on stuff? I think Joe Rogan's even told him like, hey dude, you should probably get on hormone replacement therapy as much as you work out. So
right.
That guy's, talking the talk, walking the walk.
Well, speaking of overtraining, when you go on Homeboy's 9 ancestral tenets and he talks about exercise and he gives examples of what he does, it's so overtraining. No wonder why your hormones were in the gutter.
Let's move to the next topic about how he's not healthy.
No.
So in the leaked emails, many things in his blood work were off, were not healthy. He was having sleep issues. He was saying he would have to sleep 12 hours because he would wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning?
Yeah.
2 or 3 in the morning?
I don't think it was 12 hours. I think he was in bed by 9 or whatever.
But he had dysregulated sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of your liver and waking up at 2 to 3 in the morning, there's a direct correlation with that. And the guy was on so much stuff, his liver probably wasn't healthy.
Right.
So not only was he taking a bunch of stuff that isn't healthy, he said he was on a TRT dose of testosterone, which I really don't believe the way he looked. He looks like somebody who's taken 2 or 3 times the amount of what he claims. His workouts. working out two blood burning workouts a day every day, and he said he did that for 30 years, 36 years,
something crazy.
That's not healthy.
No.
So he was just a fraud. I mean, and let's face it too, if you're trying to pitch this primal lifestyle, private jets, going to clubs, all these different things all over the world, like probably not the healthiest way. I mean, we all know primals didn't live in 600-acre ranches with mansions,
right,
and boats.
Well, I mean, and then
supercars.
Yeah, I mean, he likes to jump up and down and say, I was rich and anonymous before Liver King. I'm still rich, but I'm no longer anonymous. And I'm like, oh my God, gag. But that's cool. Like, be rich. Have your stuff, and he's just so braggy.
Yeah. But, like I told you, there's been several other people that you don't like. Andrew Tate, the Liver King, things about Donald Trump, and like I've been saying for the last, several years, people that explode on there and they're controversial, they explode fast. They go
right.
And
yeah.
That's what his whole plan was: is to be controversial, to be loud in your face, to be obnoxious. He just reminded me of like the drunk jock at a party that's just a jackass and drunk and yelling, and the guy all the guys like me when we were younger couldn't wait to punch that dude and knock him out because he was just
obnoxious. Oh.
What'd you say is obnoxious extrovert?
Yes, an obnoxious extrovert. That's Mel Robbins, folks. Yep, in her book. What is that? The 5-second rule. She talks about obnoxious extroverts are really just insecure.
Yeah. It's really hard to believe too that he says he was terrified that this really isn't him, this crazy extrovert, because he just seems so natural.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe he amped it up a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Most of the things he was preaching were counter. The other thing, well, we'll get to it on his messaging and some of the stuff that was dangerous, but the next thing is like the whole like subprimal, which, I mean, man, he would call people subprimals. He would make fun of people.
Yeah.
When behind the scenes, he's doing all this stuff. I mean, there's that video of him doing curls in the shower.
A cold shower.
Yeah.
Telling people to take your cold 30-second shower, and he's in there doing bicep curls while he's in Vegas.
Yep.
And there's steam.
There's steam, and then his comments. What did he say about if you're that?
He said something about, he's expressing his most dominant form, and so he exudes heat.
Yeah.
Well, I take a freezing cold shower every morning. Babe, do you ever see steam? I'm pretty awesome.
And you're hot.
Woo!
You're hot. So
yeah,
I don't see steam coming out of there. And your skin is very cold after you do it. But the thing, this whole video, and everybody clowned on him. There were the bathroom had a whole counter full of cans, and you couldn't really see if they're beer cans or energy drinks. And people started commenting. They said they're like, this dude gets seen like he just crushes Budweiser, Bud Lights.
Yes.
All the time. Like UFC fighters have said that. So again, I mean, everything about him, and I told Jess this. I was like, it's all going to come out. The dude's a fraud. He just reminds me of a gym bro that's banging pre-workout. That's just
pre.
Sorry, that's just slamming weights in the gym, grunting and screaming. That everybody just stares at.
Okay, now here's an idea. What if this is all new to him? What if, because he's kind of insecure and a little bit of a hermit, makes everyone come to the ranch? He doesn't really go out. What if...
Don't go too much on that. That's mental health.
Okay, hold on. But what if he got a taste of fame, a taste, like it's very exciting and all this attention, and now all of a sudden he's like becoming a douchebag?
I have the perfect analogy. He is the girl that goes to Mexico right when she graduates high school. It's never party, never drink. And then the next thing you know, she's drunk and a foam party with her tits out.
Yes!
That is Brian, and his tits were out all the time.
All the time, and his poor wife is so uncomfortable.
And his wife seems so, like, she seems really sweet and, like, conservative.
And what if she sees this, like, huge transformation of her husband who was once, like, this really honest, like, just living his tenets, and then he turns, dun, 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 Vegas douchebag.
Well, what's funny, too, is there are those people that when they become a character, they morph into that character, and that's who they are.
Right.
So
a caricature.
So again, his message, and he uses his own terms, is the dude's a very subprimal. Last thing here is and this is a fraction. A lot of the things that the guy was even saying are dangerous. If you want to listen to a really good way about eating liver, listen to Rob Wolf's podcast with Chris Kresser within the last couple months.
I love Chris Kresser.
Both of those guys have the education, the background, and I mean, Rob Wolf was a food scientist, right?
Right.
So, and they just laugh at it, and they didn't laugh. They actually said, Chris Kresser took it seriously.
Dangerous.
Like, this is dangerous. Number one, you shouldn't eat anywhere 2 to 4 ounces a week.
A week. But Liver King is jumping up and down saying because he's so conditioned, he can have a pound a day. Oh my God, you're going to have incredible levels of what? Vitamin A toxicity?
And iron overload.
Oh my God.
So, and not only that, why liver is so important, they actually used to prescribe anemic women, like in the 30s or 40s.
Anemic pregnant women, right?
Yep.
Yeah, liver.
But it was an ounce.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing we talked about was cooking it. And so I dug into the research, and I know there's all these people out there that are eating raw organs and heart and liver, and, even Paul says that stuff, raw eggs. On the liver, there's a study out there that actually said even cooking it to 160 degrees still didn't kill all of the E. coli.
Yeah.
The liver can have, it was like 4 different strains, and I think 2 of them are pretty bad. All of us get exposed to E. coli at some point. There's a lot of little mild strains. They might just, make you run to the bathroom real quick. Some can kill you. Mm-hmm. And the liver potentially can have the harmful one. So, and they also say you freeze it for 2 weeks. Well, again, there's actual studies that say even after freezing it to 0 or sub-zero for 2 weeks, it still didn't kill all of the bacteria.
So Rob and Chris kind of go into do they go into all that?
Yeah, they talk. They don't go into it that detail. They just talk about it cursory. I want to look, okay, can we eat raw liver?
Right.
Because whatever we eat, our kids eat.
Yeah.
And I'm not feeding my girls something that's going to make them sick or kill them.
But Rob and Chris also recommend cooking it. Yeah.
So we made some liver the other day. We essentially just cooked it in a butter tallow mixture, and I cooked it to right at 160 degrees, let it sit for a minute. It was good.
It was delicious.
Our girls ate it. They liked it. We tricked them, told them after they've been eating it.
Yeah, but they're pretty savage.
Oh, yeah. I made heart and liver burgers one time.
Oh, yeah, and they chowed it. I was the weird one. I was like, yay, this is great.
So eating that much liver or eating raw liver, potentially dangerous. You can get too much iron, can ruin your liver, shut your liver down. So
scary.
Use caution with that. The recommended dose is, 2 to 4 ounces in a week. Some people say they eat. Derek from More Plates, More Dates said he eats 1 ounce a day, and it significantly improved his blood markers.
Yeah.
So most bioavailable iron. So anybody who's anemic out there, you can add some liver, or if it's disgusting to you, maybe even some desiccated liver.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't train like Brian Johnson was naturally. And number one, the guy's like 45 years old. So maybe if he was 25 years old, he could train twice a day. There are people that do it. Not at 45 naturally. It just doesn't work that way. And if you look at some of those leaked emails, he was complaining about his knees being shot.
Yeah.
So the guy's obviously been breaking down his body for a long time and not focusing on one of his tenets, which is, shielding and or recovery.
Right.
So the dude was a chronic overtrainer, and I think that if he would have been doing it naturally, he would have been crushed. He'd probably be getting like injuries all the time. So on a side note, if you want to see what somebody looks like that actually kind of lives a lifestyle like this, that is natural that trains actually harder than Brian Johnson in his 40s. Look at Tim Kennedy. So Tim Kennedy is what a natural athlete looks like. But now you look at Tim, that he's out of the UFC. The guy's been one of the highest level warriors in the Army for the last 20 years. He's had 5 knee surgeries now. He's having all kinds of problems, and he's in his 40s, and it didn't start until then. And the guy's, I don't even know, 100 professional fights or Indian motivation fights.
Just
the guy's amazing.
Badass.
Yeah, Tim Kennedy. So I believe that all young boys or young men that want to look up to a man as an inspiration should look at somebody like Tim Kennedy,
right?
Because he's not full of shit.
Yep.
So, yeah, you can't in your 40s. You can't train like that, natty. We'll use the cute word, natty.
Natty.
And I don't believe, from what he's saying, I don't believe he's on or was on hormone replacement therapy. I think the estimates are he's taking over 20 IUs a day of growth hormone, when a hormone replacement dose of that is like 1 to 2. I think Joe Rogan's talked about it. He takes like 1 IU a day.
Yeah.
1 to 2.
Huh.
So, he's taken, 20 times what that is. And even, like I said, I'd have a hard time believing that he wasn't taking bodybuilder doses of testosterone.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, I can spot dudes on gear. Jess and I worked in gyms forever. One of our gyms here locally in Kalispell, I'll just point out, like 80% of the guys and probably half the women are on gear. There's a bunch of Liver King looking dudes just walking around the gym. Never did we imagine in Montana there'd be a crazy bodybuilding steroid culture.
Oh yeah, it's weird.
Again, Brian Johnson probably not on hormone replacement therapy doses. Is he doing it with a doctor? Probably, but the amounts he was taking are by far double, triple. Lastly, we kind of want to talk about, in some of these, what we've seen, and let's face it, Brian Johnson's been very, he's made his life public.
Yeah, polarizing.
And you can see things, you can talk. He's talked about some things in podcasts. I personally believe the dude, not a doctor, not a psychologist, disclaimer, the guy's got some serious mental issues.
Oh, yeah.
When you have to take $11,000 of growth hormone, pharmaceutical grade hormones, plus peptides and everything else he was taking, and you're obsessed with your back fat and your love handles.
Obsessed. When he never had it. He never had back fat. I mean, I've seen pictures of him from years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like body dysmorphia.
Well, when you show Derek showed pictures of him, what he looked like before he started taking all this stuff and working with a bodybuilding coach. And let's get this, people. He didn't work with a primal coach, an ancestral coach. He worked with a high-level bodybuilding coach on how to take all of this stuff, how to look a certain. This was all for aesthetic reasons,
right?
Not for health reasons.
No.
And
yeah, no. I think it's probably insecurity, BDD, body dysmorphia.
Well, working out twice a day, 2 workouts a day
at 100%.
Just would work out so hard sometimes that he would have to go take a nap.
Take a nap? What the hell?
No,
I want my workouts to invigorate me.
That's like somebody when they're like 80 and they go for a walk or play golf and they go home.
I'm going to take a nap. Take a nap after you go play bingo?
So, yeah, being obsessed with your back fat and your love handles, and to take it a step further, to sacrifice your health because you were so obsessed with your back fat and your love handles. Exactly.
And that's the thing where I'm like, oh, dude, no. Like, people who believe in the primal ancestral lifestyle, like, we want vitality. That is not vitality.
No. Living longevity.
Yeah. But I want to feel good. I don't want to feel run down after my workout.
Is if you live a certain lifestyle, it will affect in a positive way how you look, form, and feel.
Wait, feel?
Look, form, and feel. And this guy wasn't feeling good. And people don't realize this too, is There's been a lot of pro wrestlers that were taking all kinds of things like he was. It messes with men mentally.
Oh, yeah.
There's even, not to get too sciencey, but when you take too many things, too many androgens, which are the steroids that produce that all the bodybuilders take, it makes men obsess, like obsess about sex, obsess about
Really?
in a very unhealthy
like
way.
it kind of makes you a little OCD.
It can make certain steroids it can cause men to like their brain be like a sex addict.
Whoa.
They're, like I said, bodybuilders that never come off stuff, and it doesn't look like when he used the term, there's two terms in the steroid world, blast and cruise, and he said he was on a cruise. So his 0.6 cc's of testosterone cypionate was his cruise.
What does that mean?
So
like
that's what he takes daily.
Like maintenance?
Maintenance, there you go.
And what's the other one? A blast? That's like a big, like fatty dose, short term.
What a lot of the bros do.
Yeah, I don't know this.
So we'll educate you, right? Blast and cruise. So your cruise dose is what you're on pretty much weekly.
Okay.
That's your cruise. You're just cruising along. You feel good. You still can work out good. You know, the cruise dose for like TRT would probably be like 100 milligrams.
Okay.
The blast dose for a lot of these, so if you're most bodybuilders, they're going to take a cruise dose of 250 milligrams. Their blast dose is like summer. They're going to go like Jersey Shore, Jack and tan, right? It's going to be 500, 750, or like the term in the bodybuilding world is a gram a week.
They're going to get hot.
So where a normal TRT doctor would give you 100 milligrams for like Cruise and TRT are very interchangeable. The blast dose for a lot of bros is 1,000 milligrams. So you're 10x of what is healthy.
Oh, geez.
And when men take too much testosterone, it does have a mental effect. And you're not, like Joe Rogan said perfectly, you're not yourself. You're not a normal person. You are this thing that has super physiological levels of testosterone.
Are you your what does he call it?
Your highest and most dominant form.
Ooh, more.
So now this is your favorite topic, how his wife always looked in the videos of him.
Okay. The first time I ever saw her on a reel with her husband, I immediately got Stockholm Syndrome vibes. I felt like she was being held hostage. I was like, oh no, I'm really worried about her.
I was ready for her to hold up a little note.
Help me. Blink twice if you need help.
Yeah. I don't think she even blinks sometimes.
No, she just seemed very uncomfortable.
Trying to do SOS.
I mean, maybe it was because, the camera's on and people get tense and weird, or maybe it's because she's seeing her husband morph into this like character. I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. Because I've also seen reels with her where
she's terrified, like, who in the hell is this guy?
Oh my God, he's so scary and he smells.
Yeah.
Shoo the flies.
And he doesn't brush his teeth.
Yeah. Well, she was a dentist. She checks his teeth, apparently.
Biological dentist.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I got really like hostage vibes. So I don't know. It felt off. It was very unnatural.
Yep.
Yeah.
She looked terrified. And his kids did too. And maybe it's because of the production company.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's all so weird.
Had a cameraman living with them.
Following them around all the time. It was like a reality TV show.
But I will tell you this, out of all of this stuff, the coolest person out of the whole Liver King sphere is Chef Lionel. That is a bad guy. Like, I like him. He makes all of the organ stuff look delicious.
Yeah.
And most of all, he put up with that craziness in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to see. He's probably under some kind of a non-disclosure agreement, but like the stories that guy has.
Oh, I'm sure it's intense.
He traveled with him too, on his primal private plane.
Right.
Yeah, because it's private.
Yeah.
Something that came out in those leaked emails, it seems like this dude, Brad Johnson, never wants to leave his ranch.
Right.
Like, he's a weird prepper. Like, on his compound.
Yeah.
and never wants to leave.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you the guy has a bunker somewhere, and that's like where his weird like throne is and stuff. And I think the guy just like, I don't know. It's weird. Weird.
Yeah. How many acres does he have?
It's like 500 or 600. Which good for him. And you know what he does? Like they have their own cattle and all that stuff. Good for him. Like, again, the guy does walk to talk in a lot of ways.
Well, and I think, you know, like going into the backstory that, you know, his kids were very sick and they had to do like a huge lifestyle change. That's how the story is, right? Or the story goes. Like that's what he says.
But Paul Saladino backed it up, and apparently Paul was
he was one of the
with helping them.
Yeah.
And one of the kids even had a weird relapse. And had to get rid of dark chocolate. Dark chocolate was causing some neurological.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So
yeah, and you know, like, dude.
And Paul Saladino is a medical doctor,
right? And shit, I'll go to any extreme for my baby's health. But you know, so if, like I said, like if that's how they lived primally, where it was like, you know, we homeschool our kids, we stay kind of in our little bubble because this bubble we know is pure and clean. That's fine, but it kind of weirds me out. That's a little harmony. Well, right.
And then you're taking your kids to, I mean, like third world countries where typically you have to get all kinds of vaccines.
Right.
And that's another thing too, is like if you so primal, or it's at least recommended. I mean, they've been to Africa several times. It's like you're going to probably you should get malaria treatment.
Yeah.
If you get malaria, like it's bad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, it just seems weird. Like the dude wanted to keep him and his family on that ranch all the time, like never leave.
Hostage vibes.
Remember, you were blown away how he brings in all these teachers and like all their friends.
Yes, and all the friends come to the ranch, and when they train jujitsu, the coach comes to the ranch,
and they bring
like
their friends to the ranch.
Yes, and they do these like ninja warrior obstacle courses. Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
jiu-jitsu fighting, CrossFit coaches, all that cool stuff.
Yeah, and like, okay, cool, but I don't know. It just seems a little strange.
So another thing with, it seems like the guy kind of has a mental health issue is absolutely positively, excuse me, obsessed with working out.
Oh yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
To the point where if you look at his hormones and some of his things, like his knees bothering him, weight, like taking overtraining to an extreme, that could also be why he kept upping all his different hormones, why he was a non-responder.
Yeah.
If you overtrain, your body will downregulate things. That's probably why his got to take naps. So just obsessed with working out. Yeah. And lastly, the one that the dude, and bullying is a big topic. The guy is a fucking bully.
Completely.
Walking through a marketplace, and I don't remember what country.
No, you know, it was here in the States.
Okay.
And it was
market.
Right, outdoor market. And there's a lot of like, you know, vegan what do they call those? Oh my gosh. Vendors. Vegan vendors, or, you know, juicing or whatever. Not juicing steroids, juicers. Carrot juice. And he's screaming subprimal.
And some people posted in the comments, they're like, no wonder you have to roll around with 2 giant security guards.
You're an asshole.
And another thing is some of those people he was yelling at looked Indian, from India. And vegetarian veganism, that's part of their religion and their culture.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's, like I said, that's kind of bullying.
Oh, no, not kind of. It is. Like, he's a dick.
Just screaming at subprimal, and even kind of, you know, just talking smack to people, or, you know, or people questioning him. Dude, you're definitely on gear, which means steroids. And
he flips the script, and he's like, you're the unhappy
you're unhappy,
subprimal.
You hate your life, you're a subprimal.
Yep.
And it's like, at that point, the dude is acting like a bully.
Yeah.
And again,
we all know bullies are just insecure and they need a hug.
Sometimes that's true. Sometimes, as they say,
he's just a sad little boy who needs a hug.
And it's like the guy's also talked about some things in his childhood, and it really seems like the dude he he doesn't need a hormone doctor. He needs a therapist.
Therapy. Or Mel Robbins.
But the other thing, the guy said that him and his wife take psilocybin, like weekly. Mushrooms don't, which I don't believe that now, because all the people I know that do that stuff, I have a friend of mine that took mushrooms every day senior year. He's the nicest, happiest guy, very successful.
Yeah. Psychedelics make you happy.
He would never, as a matter of fact, he hated the people that acted like Little Brian. When we were friends, he hated those jock, obnoxious clowns.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, folks, this is our take on, Brian Johnson, a.k.a. the Liver King. I think everybody should stop calling him the Liver King, and he should just be known as Little Brian Johnson.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I say little, not because of his height, because you can't do anything about that. And being a short man, I'm not a short man, but being a short man I think sucks. Little because of his mind and the shit the guy did. He's just a little person.
Yeah. I'm really, really thankful that Joe Rogan, because he has such a platform, I'm so thankful that he sees right through the BS and he's like, right, didn't he say, I'm not going to have him on my show?
Yeah.
I'm like, stop feeding the beast.
Stalking Joe Rogan.
Creeper.
To the point where he bought front row tickets to one of Joe's shows. And one of the producers for the Liver King tried to come up and like bum rush Joe, and Joe keeps an army of Navy SEALs, trained killers around him. The guy just pushed him back and was like, "Oh, I'm a producer for the Liver King." And apparently Joe looked at him and said, "What the fuck does he have a producer for?
Producer for what?
For what?" So yeah, Joe called bullshit, but I would call this. I told my lovely wife here that within a week of Derek from More Plates, More Dates dropping, that I said he will be on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about this, and it was like 2 days.
Oh yeah, it's good. I like them both.
Well, folks, we're going to close this one, and this one was all about the Liver King. You can find us primalbase.com, and Jess's new training program is movewithjess.co, and we appreciate you guys for listening.
Yeah, it was fun. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Stay primal.